Okay, right. Welcome everybody to today's licensing panel hearing. My name is Councillor Gareth Shaw and I'm chairing the meeting today. My colleagues are Councillor John Ball and Councillor Julian Gallant, and today we comprise the licensing subcommittee. Cornelia Harding is also present and she is the clerk to the subcommittee who's taking the minutes for us. And Sean O'Brien is also present from Democratic Services, who is observing the meeting. Hatun Zeb is here, and she is our legal advisor for the hearing today. So welcome to everybody. Now, I am going to very briefly introduce the report. So I think everybody has received or seen the agenda pack. Which was sent around and had the licensing officer's report and details of the application. So to confirm for everybody that this is the application for a premises license being made by Anaya Cafe Limited, and that is Anaya Cafe 165 Dukes Road, Acton, W3 0SL. There have been a number of representations received for this hearing. One representation is from the Metropolitan Police Service. A representation has also been made from the local authorities, that's the council's pollution and noise control team. We have a representation that's been made from a councillor, Councillor Zizimos, who I believe is one of the ward councillors. There have been quite a large number of representations from residents and a representation from the Residents Association in the local area as well. Now, just purely for efficiency and to avoid duplication, because many of the representations are of a similar nature, then 3 resident objectors have been allowed to address this panel and the meeting, and their representatives are Isabella Gajeb, Lydia Nazareth, and Nim Morades, who are all present. And Nim Morades is representing the Hanger Hill Garden Estate Residents Association, and the representation from that was submitted by the chair of the association, Kate Crossland. Now, so just so everyone's clear of the procedures, first of all, I will invite the applicant to present the application, and then there can be questions from the panel for everybody, and then those who've made representations and objections can make their representations, and again there'll be time to answer any questions from the panel or from the applicant themselves. At the conclusion of the hearing of today's subcommittee, the legal advisor and clerk will retire with the panel to consider the decision, and the decision will be given sort of shortly afterwards with everybody, or it will be confirmed rather in writing within 5 working days to everybody. Okay, now that gets through the initial start, if you like, and so I will invite the applicant to make their representations for the panel. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning, panel, and good morning, everybody. My name is Siva Shankar. I'm the agent for Anaya Cafe Limited, and sitting next to me is the director of Anaya Cafe Limited, Kano. And the application as listed on the agenda papers is for a premises license for Anaya Cafe to provide licensable activities, mainly sale of alcohol, regulated entertainment in recorded music and dancing, and late night refreshment till 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, we have received a reasonable number of representations from the residents, mainly on noise and antisocial behavior, and I will come to the antisocial behavior separately. And also we have received representation from the noise team and the police. We have also written to the residents and to all the responsible, all those people who made representations. And our initial letter to them was in page 77 of the agenda papers. And also since then, we have submitted additional evidence. I believe that's been also sent to the residents and to the committee members. And I hope that you all have chance to have a look at our second statement, which is quite a short one, but also attached is to video footage of the car park area and the ongoings of them.
Yes, okay. So could I just pause you there for a moment, because we will just deal with this, that the we have received a number of documents that were outside the deadline for the publication of the papers, which is fine. We had one PDF statement from yourselves and 2 short WhatsApp videos that you've just outlined. There was also an email from Councillor Zizimos as well, and all of these were circulated to everybody by the clerk. So I think everybody has had a good view of those, haven't they? Which I think are all relevant. So we're happy to continue with those as part of this hearing.
Yes,
so thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. And also additionally, there is one additional letter from one of the residents, one of the objectors who has written to us. I'm sure that is also been circulated to everybody who have kindly given a cautious acceptance to our application. I believe that that's all has been circulated.
Yes, Mr. Shankar, that was part of your PDF. I believe it was part of your PDF, so it was.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Thank you for thank you.
Chair, if I could just say, the email for Councillor Zizimos, I didn't forward that to all the residents, but I put in the point that she was raising.
Yes.
I sent the PDF and the videos, and then I put in the point that Councillor Zizimos was raising. I didn't actually forward her email to everyone.
Okay, yes, that's fine. It was just an email, just a point of clarification.
Yeah.
Really, that's all. So yes, thank you, Cornelia.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. So there are 2 main elements that were raised by the residents and the main objections. I mean, obviously, this premises has been trading for a long time, and there has a very checkered history of operations at these premises. Now, our client took over this. This company was formed in September 2023, and since then he's been in negotiations with the operators at the time of the premises, which was called Basra Lounge at the time, and since January, I would say he has taken over fully of the running of these premises. There is a lot of I will deal with antisocial behavior complaints initially, and as we have said, our clients all park and attend the premises from Dukes Road. We don't have any clients park at the car park at the Royal Park, which is the cinema and the bowling alley, and there is no access from the car park to our premises in any way other than you come up all the way, walk along A40 and come back through all the way of Dukes Road. So none of our clients park there. And we manage all the clients parking along in Duke Road only. It has been security. Nowadays, there are security who make sure that all the cars are parked in a orderly and people leave without any issues. And you can also look from the police's representation. The police have never been called to these premises for anything. Police have no record of any crime from these premises. I'm sure there are issues with the car park at Royal Park, and the police might have called many times. And we even found an article 2 years ago in the paper where cars been driven into customers of those area, and I think there have been injuries. So the car park issue is absolutely different, and we have no control of the car park, and we have none of our clients use those car parks. We have definitely there is a problem with the noise nuisance created by some of our events, which we have given very concrete proposals how we're going to deal with them. in our letter to the residents and to the council and to the noise team. We are very committed. We have already got quotations from builders to do those works that we said that we are going to do. We have a noise consultant waiting once the works are completed to come and do the assessment and to provide a full report to the noise team for their approval before we start any regulatory entertainment if the council does give us the approval to do so. So I think the application, as I say, in the Licensing Act is mainly about a forward-looking process. The proposals that we have given today, whether if the license is granted with those proposals as conditions, whether we will uphold the licensing objectives. And we believe on the noise part of it, with the new structure that we are proposing inside the restaurant, along with the noise management we are planning to put in, any of those noise nuisance that has been caused in the past or the allegations, we don't think that will cause any more. As to the antisocial behavior, we are very confident that none of our clients have caused any of this in the past. And in the future, we are even proposing a full scan system, ID scan system for every customer who comes in. We will have their details with us. And even their car number plates, we are planning to take them. So we will know how they arrive, in what vehicle they arrive, and who they are with. And if there are any issues at all, we will be able to deal with them through the police or through the authorities or from ourselves very, very clearly and immediately. So with all these things in place, we believe that we have addressed all these concerns that are raised. And with that in mind, that we hope that we can convince the objectors to give us a chance to prove that our current operator is trying to do the right thing to the premises, which has been operating in quite disruptive way in the past. That's all for the time being.
You're on mute.
Sorry, I was just on mute there. I noticed. Thanks. Right, so I will now open up for any questions from the panel. So I don't know if councillors Ball or Gallant have anything they wish to raise at all. Yes, Councillor Ball. See your hands up.
Well, I think Councillor Gallant was first, actually.
But that's fine. Well, I'll listen. If you cover the same thing, we won't cover the same thing. But that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, in terms of what's happening currently at the premises, can you advise, what are you serving food at the moment, and if so, until what time, for instance?
Okay. So currently the premises are open till 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock? Till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock at times. But we are not, we can't serve hot food after 11 o'clock. So it's mainly currently for smoking. There is a smoking area attached to the restaurant, and that is what is mainly operating. And there have been some private parties, which our previous owners have taken bookings for, which we have to honor because they have been paid. So some of them have been happening, and that's where some of the noise issues have been caused. And I don't want to go into too many details about that because according to the noise team, some of these are still an open investigation. And my client, I don't want to sort of say anything here, which may then end up in a interview or something like that. So we have to be careful how much we can talk about that. But there has been some private parties which we had to honor because of the previous owner has taken bookings. They are all now gone. Now we have now some of them we have managed to cancel. So hopefully we will, if the license is granted, then we will be able to put these works in place and be able to manage afterward better.
And if I can follow up, Chair, to the private parties that have happened, have they involved refreshment, late night refreshment, or have they involved music?
Because they are private parties, they can't have late night. There is no. It is not a public event. Hence, there was DJ, and there was food, but there was no alcohol.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Bull. Yes, Councillor Gallant, you have some questions as well.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. I've got a few questions. So, Mr. Kanayan, you're currently in the premises. What have you? Do you have any connection with the past management of the premises, or are you completely new? I mean, do you have any connection with the people who were running
I was
before?
partially involved previously.
Partially
and then-
involved previously.
Yeah, and then
But
after that, got out management. I worked under them at some point, and then after that, it was just it was mismanaged, so I had to take over, and then from there onwards, I'm just trying to keep in compliance side of it. That's it.
Okay, so how long have you been connected with the establishment?
This, I would say, I used to previously work there about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago,
Okay.
and then due to the previous director, he had to leave the premises, and then we took over from there, and then I was in place from September. I've taken over, and then January was when I really moved in and took over completely.
Okay, so we see you've got a license from Brent. You'll be the designated premises supervisor. What's your background? Just your general background, going back a bit further. Can I ask?
Bit background. I've got a family shop. Do a bit of off license. Got local shops. That's why I initially started from. And
Okay,
then I've done Shisha Cafe previously before, locally, and then from there I just started working in cars, got into car manufacturing, and then after that I just decided to do my own business, and this is it.
Okay, thanks very much. So question, when the plans are, you've got a smoking area planned at the front, that's at the entrance outside of it.
At the back.
At the back. So I read the plans. I'm sorry I got that wrong. The smoking area is at the back, not on the Duke's Road entrance, but it will be at the back of on the other side.
That's correct, sir. Yeah.
That's okay. On the other side. This will be obviously an open area. Will you be playing music late in that smoking area?
If I may, sir, if I could refer you to the plan, it might be easier to.
No, but I just want to ask the question. This is open, so I want to ask the question.
No, there is no regulated entertainment suggested to be played in the open smoking area. It's only within the restaurant.
Only inside. So you're saying it's the only music will be played inside,
Yes.
and indoors, right? So the smoking area will not have music played. Right. Thank you very much. The other question is now in your letter in the submission, which is from you, Mr. Shankar. You've said it's important to note that all these are only possible if a license is granted to the requirements set out in our application. So are you saying that if there were any conditions imposed or any modifications or any alterations that you wouldn't be able to take on any of the measures that you've agreed to take on?
What we have said, so we have suggested a lot of conditions in our letter regarding ID scans, noise management measures, new internal structure regarding noise management, all that. There is quite a lot of investment is being put in there to get those things done. And for us to have a reasonable return, this is what our clients feel that the timing they require to manage this. So every business, the amount of money they are going to invest in this to sort of make it soundproof and run on the way that everybody would like us to run it, and we would like us to run it. We need to, obviously, at the end of the day, these are all run for profit. They are not. So hence we view that this is where their management plan requires this timing, sir. Obviously, panel has its own decisions to make, but this is our concern.
Okay, so all the measures that you've agreed to take would only come in if you get the apps, if you're granted the license, the full licenses you've applied.
That's correct, sir. Because if there is no license, we won't be able to play music. We won't be able to serve hot food after 11. So hence, these premises may not be able to operate the way that we want to.
You've engaged with residents. I mean, one thing is we've all seen the photograph. So obviously, if you look at the north of the site, you can see that it's an industrial area. If you go to the south, you can see there's some trees, and then you've got obviously residential area.
Yes.
And you've said you've engaged with residents. You've written this letter. Have you had any sort of personal interaction with residents? Have you visited at all, or just elaborate?
We haven't, sir. We have in our letter we have offered them anytime if any of them want to come and have a look at our premises to see what we are trying to do, how we manage them. We have made that offer. That offer still stands. Anytime they want to come, they have my email address. They have my direct telephone number. If this license is granted, we are even more happy to give another mobile number, which will be answered by one of the management anytime they want to talk to them, and if they want to come. So that invitation still stands. But we haven't actually approached. We haven't actually gone in person to their houses. We thought it may not be appropriate at this moment in time.
Okay, but you made the offer. Thank you very much. Thanks.
And Councillor Ball, I see that you've made another indication. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to follow up on one of the questions that Councillor Gallant asked. When did the previous manager leave the premises and wasn't involved anymore?
January, sir.
Okay, yeah. So there wasn't any sort of gap between the old manager leaving and the applicant taking over.
There was a transition. There was a transition between the management between September to January. We were trying, they were gradually taking over the premises from September to January, and in January, the new limited company took over the full management of the premises.
Okay, so really what I'm asking is, so during that transition period, that September to January, who was in charge of the premises in a practical sense?
The previous owners.
So that they were still involved right up until then, right up until January. Yeah. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. I just have a couple of questions as well. First of all, could I just check, Mr. Kenyon, are you then the sole owner now, or are there any partners? I see that you were listed in the application as the director. Yes.
Yeah.
So you are the sole director of the company.
Company, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then could I just ask, because you say you've been involved previously for about 18 months to 2 years, where you saw, previous mismanagement by the people who were running it. I mean, could you just, in your own words, just sort of identify, really what you thought was going wrong? And obviously you've outlined a number of things that you want to do to try and improve it. But what did you try and do at the time to improve the compliance if you thought that it was going wrong then?
It's just what it is was there was multiple visits from council, and I think previous was involved in a lot of things. The problem was the previous owners weren't willing to spend the money on it, so they didn't want to get the soundproof in. They didn't want to get an architect involved. They didn't want to go compliance way. Whereas now that I'm a bit involved, I want to take it into a different thing and follow the compliance. And even in terms of the reason why it wasn't previously managed properly is because it's an open area. And the reason why we're trying to avoid this open area and split into two separate bits. So the inside would remain silent and it will be closed off, whereas the outdoor smoking area won't have no sound or pollution coming from it because it would just be a background normal music on it. So these are the previous things I've learned. So I've been in place of management, and then after I've kind of dropped down because it was just not my environment, in a sense of it kept going to council, it kept going back and forth. And then it's just everybody just passes the blame on. They just need a finger to blame. So coming to a conclusion of it, I decided to do this myself. My family decided to support me on it and employ, that's it. And then from there, I just want to just do this properly. And that's why I got Mr. Shiva Shankar involved, and then we're going to get this compliance out.
Okay, thank you very much. And I see Councillor Gallant has indicated again.
Yeah, so thank you, Chair. So a couple of questions. I wanted to ask about parking and traffic management as well, and go into a bit more detail on that, what you're proposing there, because that's obviously one of the main lines of objection that we've heard from people. The other question is on the music front. You've just said that in the smoking area you'll only have background normal music playing there. What does that mean exactly? Because I measure music. I'm a musician. I measure music in decibels and loudness. And what are you going to do to control it? What are you actually going to do to control music emanating from the interior, which will be actually closed? Because I mean, soundproofing is a big scientific operation.
So once the separation has happened, we will have a noise consultant who will come and do a noise assessment to that to see what is the maximum volume we can play, so that it doesn't cause a nuisance to the residents. And a new sound limiter will be installed, and it will be set to that level, so no one can play any higher than that within that premises, within the restaurant area, which is soundproofed, where the regulated entertainment is to happen. The smoking part, there won't be any regulated entertainment happen. There will be no music to recorded music to the regulated entertainment level. There are a couple of TVs there which will just play very normal volume, like you are going to a restaurant with a background music level. And we also will make sure that music also doesn't cause a nuisance. So that music also will be limited to a level that it doesn't cause a nuisance, because it is an open area. So we are very mindful what volume we can play. And those are the two separate units that we will have, sir.
And can you just talk about traffic management as well, please? How you plan?
Okay, sure. So as you know, Duke's Road is, apart from us, everything else is the industrial area. And after 5:30, the whole area is closed. All the cars, all the people who park their cars for workers, they are all gone. The whole road is actually quite free for our customers to park. And we manage in the way that the person who is leaving last actually parked at the residence end. And so there is only employees who park at the residence end. So no customers are parked at the residence end in the road. All the customers are parked away from that. So when they are leaving, it causes a very minimum interference to the residents. And that is how we manage. Now there are always two security out there when they are leaving, to make sure that they all go. Three security out there to make sure that everybody is leaving quietly. We have put up a load of notices around Duke's Road to asking patrons to be mindful of the residents when they are leaving, and we will continue to do so.
Yep. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Ball, you have another question?
Yeah, it's on this point, on the parking point. You're saying that your patrons can freely use the roads there after the industrial users have gone, but isn't it the case that they're private roads that are controlled, so that they wouldn't be able to go there without getting the penalty from the private company that operates them? I think that was in Councillor Zismos's pack.
So the roads are all open. There is no private parking along the Duke's Road, sir. It's only inside there are parking bays, but along the road it's just empty after 5:30. Nobody's there. It's all free to park.
We've got permission from the units across to park in their front bays. So if you look online, 164, 163, and 161. So all the way up to the front, we've got permission from the landlord to use that as a parking bay.
Well, okay, but there's two different things there. So there's that's parking on specific bays on the frontages of other businesses, but the estate roads are private, aren't they? And they have control parking 24 hours.
No, I don't see any signs. No, sir.
The control in the middle, yes. In the rear of it, 10-pin car park.
Oh, that's on the other side.
That's a separate.
That's separate. That's not. We don't use that.
To do with that. We don't use that side.
Okay. Well, I think we'll probably hear. We will hear later about this, probably, I suspect. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. And could I just ask then, with the additional units that you've got permission to park in, how many parking places does that provide for you on top of what's available on the road?
I would say an additional 30 spaces, bays.
Okay, thank
Sorry,
you.
I didn't hear that.
30 car park bays.
30.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on mute, Chair.
Yes, I am again. Sorry, I was on on mute again. So I was just checking. No more questions from Councillor Gallant or Councillor Ball on that. Well, I will invite it open to the floor for questions. I would just stress, of course, at this point that people are going to have their chance to make their representation as well. So this really is just questions of fact, really, on the application. So, and with that in mind, I first saw Isabella indicate, and after that we'll go to PC Hewison and then Mr. Cook.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask for some clarification on the parking issue. You've just said that the adjacent units allow you to park. Are these parking spaces the spaces that are in front of each of the premises? So is that what you were referring to?
Yeah.
So, and 30 spaces, and presumably if somebody uses those spaces, then the equivalent bit on the road is not accessible because effectively those spaces are directly.
No, it's controlled bays. So if you look along the map on 161 to 164,
Yeah.
the whole bay is controlled. So there's individual bay spaces in
Yeah,
right.
but what I'm saying is that if somebody parks in that bay, then it means that there is no space available on the bit of road that basically surrounds that covers that bay. So as you drive in off the road, you are then basically using up a space that would otherwise be available on the road.
We have some confusion. So I mean, I come here in the evenings. The access road is kept very clear. There is nothing stopping the access right up to the end. All the cars are parked on the sides. So
I'm just questioning the number. You said 30 parking spaces.
Yeah.
But you are talking about 3 properties. Is that correct?
What does that? Can you just repeat the question again?
Because he said
Yes.
that within properties,
Yeah.
we have 30 bases. That was
Yeah.
So these are part of the Tesla repair centers.
Yeah, repair center.
Yeah, these are part of the Tesla repair centers we are talking about, which are also owned by the umbrella group. So they are all part of the same people who operate these things. Hence, those are available to us. They are given to us to park. So in the evenings, none of the Tesla operating, all those Tesla parking is empty. They are taken away. All those available to us to park, available customers to park.
Okay, I would be interested to see exactly where those spaces are because I'm struggling to envisage how you can find 30 spaces on Duke's Road. The other question that I have that's related to what you've just said there, can I just confirm the applicant's status with regards to the Anaya Cafe?
Sorry, what applicant status mean? I don't understand the question. The applicant is a company, limited company, and the director of the limited company is here with us.
It's just that you're the director on Company's House.
Yes.
Has a different name to the applicant.
He uses he is commonly known as Kano, so he is using Kano as Kanogen is his. If you look at
it's what it is I've done a deed poll on my name because I've got a long name. Just had to shorten it. That's all it was.
Okay. And so, are you also a director of all the other properties that are along
No.
Duke's Road?
I've just taken permission from them to use this space for car parking, and that's it.
Am I allowed to ask whether you have any association with any of the companies that run any of the adjacent units?
I don't think that is appropriate for this hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we just take that they do have permission from the companies. We've sort of established for the parking there. The status or what those other companies aren't really relevant for this. Yeah. Okay. And now PC Hewison.
Hello, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to ask about SIA. What's your plans around SIA, particularly on a Friday and Saturday night?
All the door supervisors are SIA registered. Currently we have 4 door supervisors.
3.
3 door supervisors, and we will have, if the license is granted, we are promised to increase the numbers to 1 to 50 ratio with at least 1 female door supervisor present.
Okay.
So,
is that every night, or is that more just Fridays and Saturdays?
it's mainly when regulated entertainment and alcohol are available after midnight on those nights.
Okay. Can I ask what the maximum capacity of the premises is? How many people do you allow inside?
It's about 250, I think.
Max.
That's including the restaurant plus the
outdoor smoking.
So that's 250 maximum across the inside and the outside. Okay. Thank you. And do you have a dispersals policy in place?
We are currently formulating one, and we are more than happy to share with all the authorities before we start operating the license if it is granted.
Okay, but it's something you're looking at. Okay, thank you. I've got no further questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, PC Hewson. And now, Mr. Cook, you have some questions.
Thank you, Chair. So I would like to just quickly refer, you mentioned that the previous owner has booked some venues in the past. So could you please tell me a little bit more, like when those venues took place and what activities were performed on the day? Was like a loud music playing there? You mentioned something about the DJ, and what time the...
Fine. I mean, we are happy to talk about it generally. The thing is that you have clearly said that most of these allegations are still open cases. So I don't want to sort of prejudice my clients' rights if there are investigations pending. So broadly, we will say there were private parties taken on by the previous owner, which we had to honor, and they have provided their DJ who played the music, and there was no alcohol. So that has happened in the parties, and some of them we managed to cancel. Where they haven't paid the full money for the parties, we were managed to cancel them and refunded the money. But the parties that they have already paid the full money to the previous owner, we had to honor them because we couldn't give back all the monies. So that's what has happened so far.
I understand, but in terms of that noise element and the music, the DJ, what time you hold the that event? What time did you finish, or like did you apply for the temporary event notice on?
No, these are private parties. They don't require a license. They are outside licensing act.
Okay, and in terms of the acoustic treatments, I know that you already explained that, but so far, like what acoustic treatments are implemented, and why you will invest more in the acoustic treatments? What's your plan for the venues, and like how are you going to mitigate and make sure that there is a prevention of the nuisance to the local residents?
Yeah. Thank you. So we obviously can see the level that we want to play, or we have been playing in the past. Some of these parties, they have definitely causing a nuisance. So the current acoustic characteristics of the premises is not very good at all. Hence, we have actually given quotations to provide a acoustic separation for the restaurant. And once that is done, we will have a noise consultant come in and assess the acoustic capabilities of our property, and we will provide you with a acoustic report for your approval. You can have a look at it, and if you are satisfied only, then we will start providing regulated entertainment. So that's the condition that we are forwarding to the panel if they are minded to grant the license.
I understand. In terms of the time scale, what would you say, like the whole project for the acoustic treatments? How long does it?
We hope it will take about 2 weeks if the license is granted from the time it is granted. But as I say, until an acoustic report is provided to you and for your satisfaction, we will not be providing regulated entertainment in there.
I understand.
So if it takes longer, then obviously it will take longer for us to start operating.
Okay, and until the completions of this project for the acoustic treatments, how are you going to make sure that there is no nuisance to the local residents? Like how are we going to measure it?
So that obviously we will take a lead from our acoustic consultant. If the consultant say that he may want access to some of the closest nearby residents to observe this, that probably at the time we will come to you and say we will probably ask them access.
I understand, but I'm
or maybe he will measure 1 meter from their windows, closest windows. Then we
I understand,
don't need.
but I'm asking why until you finish, the acoustic treatments. I'm guessing that probably you'll still have some events until then. So how are you going to make sure that the music playing, emanating from within the premises is not going to cause nuisance to the residents in the night?
As we said, we are going through our diary. We are clearing. We have managed to cancel most of those other parties that are booked, and we will make sure that if there are anything that we are going to sort of manage in a way that it doesn't cause any nuisance. It's very important for us to gain the trust from the residents. So what we are providing today, we have to go by that.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cook. I see no other indications.
So
yeah,
Chair,
sorry,
Councillor
Zizimos seems to be waving at me, so perhaps she has a question to ask. Yes, Councillor Zizimos?
I do. I'm sorry, I can't seem to raise my hand officially. Anyway, the Dukes Road is a private road. There is signs everywhere along that road saying there is no road parking, and there's 24/7 ticketing by a private company. So I don't understand how the applicant is saying that it's okay to park there when there is signs. I can provide you the sign saying that you cannot park on the road. So they may have done deals with premises along there, but the road is very short. There is not much parking, which is all fine because there is parking in the View car park. I just want to make it clear that officially, legally, there's no street parking 24/7 on Dukes Road. There is signs along the whole length of the road saying this. So if they have made private deals with the premises along the road saying that you can park on their forecourts, perhaps. Because if you walk along there now, it says no parking, no parking, no parking along the whole length of every single forecourt. Yeah. So I assume they have someone that can marshal their parking. I just want to clarify that this is not a free-for-all on that street, apparently.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Zizimos. So this, I think, goes back to an earlier point that Councillor Ball was actually sort of asking. So if you could just clarify again, if you can, please, just what the parking situation is on Dukes Road. So we've established the 30 units in the other premises that you've got permission to park in. But what is your understanding then of the parking on Dukes Road?
Is a question for us, sir? Is it a question to us?
Yes, please. If you can just clarify that.
So as we said, sir, we own quite a number of premises. We know of who operated here. We have quite agreements with them. And as you know, we don't want our customers to be given tickets by anybody. So whatever we use, we have agreement for them to park there. And we have more than adequate spaces for our customers to park. And we have no need for our customers to park in the public car park on the other side. And we will, and it is very difficult for them to get from that car park to our premises. And also, as you know, parking is not a licensing issue. If there are nuisance from parking, there is, but I don't think at the moment there is no evidence that our clients' parking is causing any nuisance.
Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. I don't see any other indications now. So thank you for the applicant for that. And I will now invite PC Hewison as one of the objectors to make her representation.
Thank you, Chair. The premises is located approximately 45 metres away from residential properties. The hours proposed by the applicant are excessive, with opening hours until 3:30 in the morning and licensable activities to carry on until 3 a.m. The police are aware that Council's noise pollution team have currently 7 ongoing cases in relation to noise nuisance around the premise. The police have concerns regarding the location of the premises. It's close to residential properties, and they've already experienced noise nuisance coming from the premises. With the excessive hours, the long operating hours, particularly at the weekend, it's going to bring with it crime, antisocial behaviour. People leaving the premises will likely be drunk. There'll be noise coming from them, shouting. They'll be urinating in the street, and loitering, and just hanging around the premise. And the police have no confidence that the management of the premises will be able to operate whilst promoting the licensing objectives. Those are our main concerns.
Okay, thank you, PC Now, do the panel, Councillor Ball or Councillor Gallant, do you have any questions for PC Hewson?
None for the moment.
Yep, nothing, no. Could I just ask then, PC Hewson, you mentioned that it is likely to bring crime and antisocial behaviour to the area, but are the police, or are there any active investigations, or what sort of numbers of antisocial behaviour reports or sort of incidents have the police been involved with over, say, the last 12 months?
Yeah, I've had a look on police indices, and we don't have anything. The last call to police that I could find was the 10th of July 2022. There was a lot of issues previously around COVID times, after COVID, but we've had nothing in the last 12 months.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
And I did see Mr. Shankar, were you indicating to ask a question or not?
I was,
Yeah,
but very kindly you have asked what I was going to ask, so thank you.
Okay. Yep, thank you very much. Right, if there are no further questions then, thank you, PC Hewson.
Thank you, Chair.
And I will now invite Mr. Cook from the Council's Noise and Pollution Control to make his representation. Oh, sorry, just before I come to you, Mr. Cook, I see Councillor Gallant has indicated. Is this a question for PC Hewson?
It is, Chair, and I should have mentioned it. I'm sorry, PC Hewson. The parking obviously has been discussed a lot. Do the police have concerns about that as well, and about traffic control there, and about traffic noise?
Yeah, there's always concerns on these types of roads. There's never enough parking bays. You've got 250 people attending the premises maximum capacity. There isn't enough room. If people are all driving, there's not enough room for cars to park there. I don't know about the controls that are in place, but obviously, I have been down there. I have attended the venue, a few years back, and I know it's just, a few parking bays outside the front of all these units. So, yeah, it's always a concern.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, right. So apologies for that, Mr. Cook. But now, if you would like to make your representation, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, everyone. My name is Mateusz Kruk, and I'm a Noise and Nuisance Officer for Action Cluster. I have submitted the representations against the new premises license due to the historical and ongoing issues with the premises. The business itself is well known to our department, with complaints about noise nuisance dated back 2008, when the premises was also known as Bus Lounge. The premises is located at the far end of an industrial estate road with residential properties just behind it, approximately only 45 meters away. And given the close proximity, we have concerns regarding the locations of the premises, its operational hours also, and it is believed that the venue is not suitable for the proposed new premises license, lacking measure to prevent public nuisance. The residents of Princess Garden have constantly identified Anaya as a source of noise nuisance caused by loud amplified music emanating from the premises, as well as loud music coming from the premises patrons' cars, which were parked outside the venue. A raised human voice, rowdy behavior. So as a result of this complaint, an abatement notice was issued on the premises, and the notice has been breached on several occasions that resulted in the confiscation of the sound equipment, and later on the prosecution and Uxbridge Magistrates Court, where the premises was found guilty 6 out of 7 charges. Yes, we have received a correspondence from Mr. Shanker on the 30th of April 2024. It has been mentioned that the premises has been subject to many changes in operators since 2008, and that basically had a negative impact on the neighbors. As I already said, the premises has varying long history of the complaints about loud music playing until very late hours, and the residents of Princess Gardens are affected with this nuisance for years. So I would say that it's not really fair for the residents not to remember about all these allegations of past nuisance. Also, the current director, Mr. Kanojan Yoganathan, Mr. Kano, is already known to our department also. It has been, Mr. Kano explained that he used to work as a manager of the premises, and also he was a direct contact between us and the premises. That also indicates that Mr. Kano is fully aware of the problem, and there was no action taken to address to this issue. And our department is still receiving complaints from the residents even after September 2023. Currently, we actually have 8 active investigations against the premises from 8 different residents, but it seems that there are more people affected with the noise nuisance. Please note that there are 15 objections made by residents against this application. Also, in the same correspondence, it has been mentioned that the business is looking into implementing acoustic treatments at the premises, which also includes installing a sound limiter, the mentioned ID scanner, but it also has been mentioned that these are only possible if license is granted to the requirements set up in the applications. This is actually something that I would disagree in terms. If there is a venue that wants to hold regulated entertainment such as live music, DJs, recorded music, dancers, this is the venue's responsible to make sure that you do not cause any nuisance to the local neighbors. The business itself applied for all these activities to run every day until 3 in the morning. Therefore, the control of the noise pollution needs to be met to its highest standard, in my opinion, especially if the premises wish to hold such as events. These improvements like acoustic treatments and sound limiters should be already there. We as a noise team, we are happy to cooperate with the business, and if there is some acoustic treatments already done, if there is a need of performing a sound exercise, we are happy to take a part of it. However, in my opinion, those acoustic treatments and the sound limiter should be already placed, and we just object to for the new premises license to be granted by this premises.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So again, I'll just open it to the panel and councillors Ball and Gallant. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Chair.
Yes,
Can I
Councillor
just
Ball then.
Can I just ask? Yeah, it was interesting to hear about your previous interactions with the applicant. Based on those, do you consider that the applicant? Are you confident that the applicant would be able to maintain the licensing objectives?
So I'm not confident that the premises will meet the licensing objectives.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And Councillor Gallant. You're on mute, Councillor Gallant.
Oops, there we go. Thanks, Chair. So you're a noise pollution specialist. You say you would ideally like to see these measures in place before there's a licensing application, so that you could actually attest to their efficacy. Is that a normal thing in the past? And have you had any indication in detail about what kind of measures that they are planning to install?
Well, so that's also I hope to find out during today's hearing from Mr. Kano to explain me like what's their plan for the acoustic treatments. But my understanding is that they at the start point. So there's lots of things that needs to be involved in the whole process. So I understand that the acoustic consultancy hasn't been done yet. Therefore, yes, for the venue like this, if, the applicant applied for the live music, for the DJ, for the dancers, without a proper acoustic soundproofing. And given the close proximity to the local residents, it is more likely that the residents going to be still affected with the music, sorry, and with the noise nuisance.
Do you think that okay, so that's the indoor indoor entertainment, but outdoor entertainment, they have said that they won't be doing that there will be some element of music being played outdoors in the smoking area, and that's obviously at night time in dark hours. Do you believe that can be done? That can be done so as not to disturb neighbours in the proximity that you've seen? Is it possible to have an outdoor area with some music being played and voices and so on, which won't disturb the neighbours in Prince's Gardens that we've seen?
Well, I believe that some of the residents, especially the ones that are closer to the back of the premises, might be affected with some music and some raised voices. So it is very important to also implement some further noise pollution control to make sure that any background noises from the backyard is not affecting people, especially as the premises wants to operate for since 10 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the night.
Okay. Can I ask, Chair, would you mind asking Mr. Cano a question in that respect? Would that be possible?
Well, it's really questions just for Mr. Cook.
All right. Okay. The question was about how many people will be in the outside area, in the smoking area, where I mean, shisha is going to be a big part of this operation, and it's an outdoor thing. How many people will be in that outdoor area? That's probably down in the application somewhere.
Yeah, I was going to say I think that it's in the application.
Is it in the application somewhere?
We can have a quick check, but
yeah, have a quick check later.
We'll come back to it if it needs any clarification, if that's all right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, I do just have a couple of questions, please, Mr. Cook. First of all, obviously I know that there are active investigations going on, so I don't want to go into the detail of those, but I was just wondering if you could let us know the dates of those. So, what has there been sort of since September, and what has there been since January, or really in 2024? Are there any investigations from that period?
Yes, so from that period, we have received around 3 complaints, with the most recent received on the 16th. I just quickly go back to my notes. That was 16th of February, I believe.
Okay.
16th of February. So basically, at the end of the year, we have received the first complaint, which has been also witnessed by our patrol officers, and that's when I sent a warning letter to the premises as a breach of the abatement notice, which is still active on the premises.
Okay. Could I just ask how long the abatement notice has to run then? What is the date on that?
The abatement notice has been served in 2022. I'm sorry, I just had it in my notes, but my notes are just magically disappear.
Yeah, that's okay.
So just to be just to give the precise date, the abatement notice was issued on the 6th of July 2022.
Okay. Thank you. So some of those are sort of live from quite recent times, actually.
Yes.
Yes. And could I also just ask, just as a really a point of clarification, it seems that you're basically sort of suggesting that the cart is before the horse, in effect, with the licensing application, and that the acoustic adjustments should have been made beforehand, rather than coming as a point of, oh, we will do this if you give us a license.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so this is my belief that this is something that should be already done, especially the small things like installing the sound limiter, which is very important to make sure that the volume of the music playing within the premises is not exceeded. I believe it's also very important to note that the 45 meters is the distance from boundary from the wall of the premises to the nearest wall of the residence, but the residents, they also have the back gardens, so the distance in fact is even smaller.
Yeah, and could I just ask as well, I don't know the technical details of this, but what a sound limiter, if you know you were to put a sound limiter in place, how quickly and expensive is it to actually do?
The sound limiter itself is not super expensive device, and the way it works is that it controls the volume of the music being played within the premises. If the volume is being exceeded, there's a given period of a few seconds before it turn the electricity off.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So it could be done relatively quickly and easily.
That's correct. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Shankar, I see you have a question. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to clarify one of the sound limiter that we've been explaining about. The sound limiter we are proposing is not the one that the officer suggested that cuts off the electricity. That's the old style ABC ones, which causes more problems because the customers don't like when the power gets cut off. The new sound limiter that we are proposing is the ABC2, which actually works through the amplifiers, and it will automatically cut the level of the music without cutting the electricity. So whatever the DJ turns up his music on his DJ desk, our amplifier that is set with the sound limiter will make sure that the sound doesn't go beyond the frequencies are set and locked away with the ABC2. So the sound limiter will never go above the level that is set and approved by the council.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Now, are there any other questions for Mr. Cook at all? Not seeing any indications. So thank you, Mr. Cook.
Thank you very much.
We will now, I will ask Councillor Zizimos, who has made an objection as a ward councillor, if she would like to make her representation.
Thank you, Chair. A lot of the stuff that I was going to talk about is being talked about already, but I especially I have an issue between because the shisha is going to be open, and even if you have, it's not really been addressed. What happens every time someone opens the door from the restaurant and the bar and goes into the shisha area? Will there not be music coming from there going out into the air? So that I find that a bit difficult, and that's not been addressed. But my biggest concern, and the concern that most residents have, is what happens outside the premises. There is very limited parking on the street itself. But all right, so people are on Duke's Road. The people that do park on Duke's Road do not leave. Even when it shuts, they're still there. And they're having a drink, having a smoke, playing their music really loud from their cars. And and no one moves them on, and there's nothing there to move them on. And I don't believe that they're going to be able to get these people to leave. And if they're going to be open till 3 a.m., then those people are going to be there till 4 a.m. because they won't leave. And that's a thing that keeps happening. I think that's one of the biggest gripes that residents have, is that no one leaves, and they just hang around and they have a new party outside the premises. And that is not only when the premises is closed, it also happens obviously when they're open as well, because people are having cigarettes outside, and it's not one person having a cigarette, it's a whole party of people having cigarettes. So there's a noise from the premises itself from its music, then there's a noise of the people outside having a drink, or not having a drink, having a smoke, whatever other activities they're doing, and playing their music from their cars. So it's a whole, there's a whole atmosphere of everyone having a great party. The only problem is that someone's trying to sleep 45 meters away, and it doesn't quite work, every day of the week. My other concern is we got sent a video of what happens in the View car park, and the applicants are very want to really distance themselves from the antisocial behaviour that they filmed for us and showed us. But I can't see how some of their patrons, the ones that can't park on the designated car spaces that they've been given, or in the Tesla car park. I'm sure Tesla doesn't know that their patrons are parking there. It takes you 3 minutes to walk from the View car park to their premises. I did it yesterday. I know that's how long it takes. I'm not saying that every single person involved in antisocial behaviour might have been from their lounge, but I can't say that some of them are not from there. And I think that if there's a place there that's selling alcohol to 3 a.m. and you can't find a park, you're going to go around the corner and park at View Park, because you can. They let you park there for 5 hours, unlike Duke's Road, which gives you a ticket if you park there anywhere, anytime, 24/7. And they're going to have a party there too, which is what they're doing now. So, and the applicant has explained to us already that they have no control of that car park, and I can't see how they're going to be able to control them when they get a liquor license, and it's just going to be a carry-on of what's happening already. So I'm not confident that the applicant will be able to control what happens on Duke's Road. What I'm sure some of their patrons do park in the View car. What happens in the View car park, and I think it would just be more problems for residents in the future if this premises gets a liquor license as well.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Sizimos. Are there any questions from the panel for Councillor Sizimos? Yes, Councillor Ball.
Yeah. Can you just confirm whether the issues that you're raising about individuals making a noise around the cars and so on, are they specifically related to this premises as opposed to any other ones in the area? Kind of, there's clarity that they are.
There's no other business of that type. In every other business is an industrial business that has 9 to 5 type hours. They're all shut. The only business that could possibly come from is on Duke's Road itself is from a lounge. Obviously, in the View car park, it could be from the cinema or whatever. But the cinema doesn't run till 3 a.m. So I'm not saying that every single bit that happens in the View car park is from their patrons, but I'm sure some of their patrons must park in there, because the parking on Duke's Road itself is very, very limited. So I can't see how they don't have patrons. They go and park in that car. I would. If I was going to there and I couldn't find a park, I'd go around the corner and park in View car park, because it's really close and it's like 3 minutes away.
Thanks. Yeah, and yeah, and the Duke Road, there's nowhere else for that they would be associated with in Duke Road. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Gallant, anything?
Nothing from me, Chair. That's fine. Thanks very much.
Okay, good. Yep, I don't have anything either. So I think, sorry, Mr. Shankar, you came on. Did you have a question for Councillor Zizimos?
No, sir, we have no questions.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, thanks. Right, in which case we will move on. So there are a number of resident objections in the papers for this hearing. So we will now go to the residents themselves, and if I could start then with Isabella, if that's okay, Isabella.
Yep, that's fine, thank you. Okay, so I've been asked to represent the residents because we were limited to the number. So I'm just going to read something out because I'm not used to speaking like this, so apologies. I've lived in my house since 1999, and the issues with the Anaya Cafe, which was previously the Basra Lounge, have been ongoing since 2009. The premises was originally set up as a bakery, and over the years, I'm not quite sure how, but the usage has changed to a shisha lounge. And as I think many of you are already aware, it has consistently changed owners. Despite a succession of noise abatement orders and partial closure orders, the premises continues to operate, often with no regard to what is allowed and with little consideration to the residents in Prince's Gardens. As you've seen, the cafe is located at the end of Duke's Road, and as many people have already said, it is less than 40 metres away from our houses, but it's actually only 20 metres from our garden fences. Sitting in the garden, we are very close, and as the nice weather starts again, it becomes so much more apparent, the noise coming from the premises. The premises are located in the middle of an industrial estate, and there is only one point of access. You can only come to the premises driving down Duke's Road from the A40. When people come down the road, especially at night, the headlights from their cars, regardless of where they park, will shine straight through to the houses on the top loop of Prince's Gardens. This is creating a disturbance, especially at night when you're trying to sleep. The noise from the premises is not just the music, and again, this has been mentioned. It's the noises as people drive to the venue and then coming in and out of their cars. And I also wanted to point out, you have had objections from 15 residents, but there are many other residents that are probably not even aware of the licensing application. The notice was displayed on the premises, but this is not visible from our houses. Our front doors are the other side of our houses. It is our back gardens that are separated from the premises by an alley. And unless we have any need to go into the industrial estate, we would not walk past the cafe and see the notice. I would urge the committee to take this into account, as I feel that many other local residents would also have liked to have been made aware of the application and possibly may have wanted to make comments. As you've heard, the residents have continued to be disturbed by the noise from and around the premises since the new ownership started in September last year. Just this last weekend, I was sitting in the garden and had to listen to the music coming from the premises. Whilst the noise is not always excessive, it's like having a noisy neighbour having a party. But this neighbour's party it doesn't happen just on the odd occasion, it's happening on a regular basis. It is extremely tiring and disturbing because you never know when it's going to happen. I appreciate that the cafe is proposing various measures to limit the noise and impact, but in reality, I'm not convinced how much impact it may have. ID scanning will only be effective if patrons have valid ID documents on their person, and whether it acts as a deterrent is possibly questionable. But much of the disturbance that we suffer is the arrival and departure of patrons. The disturbance being caused both by their car headlights and people talking or shouting as they arrive or leave the premises. There have been attempts to stop cars parking close to the venue, but unless you're able to ensure that patrons walk to and from their cars in silence, this won't help the noise situation and will continue to create a disturbance. The new owners are obviously aware of the nuisance that is caused by the premises and its patrons, as they have already listed controls that they will take to limit noise and antisocial behaviour. Although the fact that they state that this will only be implemented if a licence is granted does not seem to be particularly sensitive to the local residents at this point in time. In summary, I urge the committee to refuse the licence application, as the premises are not a suitable venue for serving alcohol or for extended opening hours. The local residents have been plagued by disturbances for many, many years, and a licence will simply make the situation worse. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Isabella. Now, I don't know if the panel has any questions for Isabella. I would like to try and get through the residents' representations as quickly as possible. So I would propose that we go on to the other residents as well, and then perhaps we could pick up any questions for them at the end.
That's fine, Chair. Yep. Thank you.
Chair, may I just interject for a moment? It doesn't appear that I've got the hand to be raised. Yeah. Legal advisor to the subcommittee. Just in regards to the representations made by Ms. Grissom, it's just to clarify that the public notice was displayed prominently at the front of the premises, I understand, and so could easily be read by passing members of the public, and there's no other statutory requirement that requires the notice to be placed on roads or areas where the premises is not located. I just wanted the panel to be clear on that in terms of the representation made on the notice. There is no issue as far as the licensing authority would be concerned on the display of the actual notice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Zeb. Right, so yeah, I will go to Ms. Nazareth next, if that is okay. Are you ready to make your representation?
Yes, I am. Hi, I am a resident of Princess Garden since 2015, and we've been continually distressed with this ongoing noise nuisance for the past 9 years. Each time the property changes ownership, we get assurances that they'll keep the disturbances down, but the noise persists. As you're aware, the noise was absolutely intolerable in 2022, when the noise pollution team took action and the noise stopped for a brief period till September 2023. When the noise started once again, I have recorded instances of at least 6 such instances in September itself. And then this carries on every weekend. And the latest that we have recorded is the 9th and 16th of February 2024. The 16th of Feb 2024 was particularly loud when the noise officer visited the premises and he asked them to lower the sound. And this was quite late in the night. This was about 1 o'clock at night. Now, often this noise happens on weekends, festivals, and bank holidays, and it carries on till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. In cooler months, it's possible for us to keep our windows closed and have a bit of sleep. But in summer, with the heat and we keeping our windows open, it gets very difficult for us to sleep, and this has a direct impact on our health and well-being generally. I'd like to add that for us to call the noise team each time there is a excessive noise, it means we're calling them at about 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. And these guys come into our houses to assess the noise. This is extremely inconvenient for us. And I have an elderly mother who lives with me suffering from dementia. And she gets really disturbed with all this, ongoing issues that we've been experiencing with Anaya Lounge. Now, the applicant also states, as I think this has already been mentioned by a lot of other people, that the residential area is some distance away, which is we established that is not true, because it's just about 40 meters away and about 25 meters away from our back garden. So this is pretty close to our residential abodes. Also, the extension of the timing seems to be linked to the noise insulation and other measures that the applicant proposes to put in place. In my view, these should have been there a long time ago, and this should have been put there as a routine and not connected to the operating timings at all. In my understanding, this bar also operates as this place operates as a bar and a shisha lounge, and we have heard that there's live entertainment, there's belly dancing, there's shouting, there's clapping, there's loud talking, vehicular traffic coming and going, and of course, this is a total disregard for the residents of our neighborhood. I also noticed when I did a search of Anaya Lounge on Google, the opening hours are displayed as 12 to 1 a.m. Monday to Thursday, Friday to Saturday till 3 a.m. and Sunday till 2 a.m. So I don't know if they are aware of this information on Google, because obviously if I have to book or if I have to go into a venue, I would first Google and see what are the timings of this particular lounge. Can I hang around till later or whatever? In view of all this, my humble request is that, given the inconvenience caused to all of us over the years, and to prevent any such future nuisance, that this permission should be looked into very carefully and it not be granted, because anything beyond 11 o'clock at night is really inconvenient for all of us. And as residents, we need to sleep to be able to perform the next day, to go back to work, and to just carry on with our lives. So that's my humble request to the licensing team when you're reviewing the whole permission business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And then finally, and this is the last submission for the panel, Ms. Morades, are you ready to make your representation, please?
Yes, I am. I'll do my best. I haven't got much voice though, so forgive me if I have to break off.
So, of course.
I'm speaking on behalf of the Residents Association, which covers the conservation area just south of these premises. And it's a quiet family neighborhood, or it is when there's no music from these premises. And as a residents association, we've supported people living in the neighboring houses over years and years as they've been plagued by this noise and antisocial behaviour. And we're very grateful to Ealing councillors and Ealing Council officials for their support in what's been a very long and very frustrating battle. We're being asked to take an awful lot on trust here, particularly given what we've learned during this hearing about the continuity of management of the premises from the previous management, which has been subject to all sorts of enforcement action. And as residents, we have absolutely no confidence that these operators will be any better than previous ones, and that actually it's going to be a lot worse because of the extended hours and the alcohol that's being applied for. Really, the bottom line is that these premises should never have been allowed to operate as a music and entertainment venue. They're the last building on a road which, as you've heard, is occupied by light industrial warehouses, car repair, and so on. It's absolutely not part of the Park Royal Entertainment Complex, which is much further away, and it's protected by proper noise barriers. I live quite a long way down the loop in Prince's Gardens, and even in our garden in the evenings, we can hear noise from these premises. There's one point of clarification I'd like to add, which is that nobody's mentioned that the boundary between Duke's Road and our estate is just an open iron gate. It's a locked gate, which means that only those residents, and there are a few of them, who have the key can actually go through. So although it may be legally correct that the notice only had to be put on the premises, it's disingenuous of the applicants to suggest that they've been consulting the neighbouring houses, because there's been nothing, as far as I'm aware, on our side of the boundary. You've had loads of evidence all telling the same story. You've heard from some of my neighbours and read the representations from a lot of others who weren't allowed to speak today about just how distressing this has all been for years. Every kind of enforcement has failed. It's taken a lot of residents' time and inconvenience. It's taken up a lot of time at the council. And we certainly read in the application or the supporting emails a threat that if the license is restricted or not granted, that they'll carry on regardless. We're not unreasonable, and over many years we've tried to engage constructively, but really enough is enough. It's time these premises were closed down as an entertainment venue. Should never have been licensed in the first place. So we object to this application on the strongest possible grounds, on grounds of, above all, prevention of public nuisance. And looking at the agenda, we would ask the committee on behalf of the local residents to take option D, that is, reject the application in full. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Morades. Now, I would just clarify one point that you did make about the number of residents. Obviously, we have all the residents' objections, all 15 as were mentioned, that are part of this application pack. And we have noted that the Residents Association as well for the area has made their objections on behalf of their members. So we are aware of the number of residents objecting. It is a matter of sort of time and efficiency. We have also noted, I think it's fair to say, that the panel, that the objections from the residents all do follow a very similar pattern. And the points are well taken by the panel. So we do appreciate that. Okay, now I'll just ask if there are any questions, first of all, from Councillors Ball and Gallant for any of the residents at all.
No, thanks, Chair.
One very quick question, Chair, if I may.
Yes,
I don't want to interrupt anyone, but Ms. Morales, you mentioned the iron gate, which hasn't been talked about earlier on, and so you think that narrow barrier or that light barrier should have somehow, encouraged them to put the notice up in further afield. We've already heard from the legal advisor that's not a requirement. I mean, can I ask, did anyone go around there and see the notice? Did anyone actually go and see the notice on the on the premises, or see it anywhere else?
If that's addressed to me, I honestly can't remember now how we became aware of it. Okay. I think maybe it was the maybe some sort of alert came through, or I know that the people most closely connected with this are in close contact with the noise team, so it may have been through contacts of that. Point I wanted to make about the iron gate is that basically you can walk to the end of Duke's Road and see the back garden gates and the back windows of the houses. So although the applicants provided a photograph which made it look as if there was a forest between the two, basically there's nothing.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks. That's fine for me, Chair. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And I did just see an indication from Isabella, but the hand has gone down. Was the point made, Isabella, or would you like to come in?
No, Nim covered that point. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Right, well, if there are no further questions from anybody, then there's been a substantive amount that we've heard this morning. So that concludes this part of the hearing, and the panel will now retire to take its decision.
Chair,
sorry. Yes, we need the summing up, don't we? I am
indeed.
Going through without the summing up, of course. So I see Mr. Shankar has also, as he put his camera on, reminded me. So if you would like to sum up first of all, Mr. Shankar?
Just pardon my question, sir. I mean, normally we go last on summary. So do we want anybody else to summarize before us, or is that it?
Yes, Councillor Shaw, I believe Mr. Shankar will summarize at the end. It's normal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if anybody else want to do any summarize before us, sir.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, we do have a large number of people who've made representations to go for the summaries. So I would just ask first of all in order, PC Hewison, followed by Mr. Cook, and then the residents themselves.
Thank you, Chair. Police aren't satisfied by anything heard today. I've put my concerns in my representation. The police have no confidence that the licensing objectives, particularly public nuisance, will be promoted, and believe that the application should be refused in its entirety. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Cook.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, very similar summary. We don't believe that the premises will be able to hold the activities in application. So we also believe that the premises should be refused. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. Concise, I believe. Councillor Zizimos, would you like to summarise?
I have even more reason to say this would be a really bad idea to grant a license to this premises. Having listened, I didn't even think about the headlights, but the headlights and all the traffic, and it is a dead end road, so everyone's turning around. It's nightmarish, and it just makes me even think how we even got here, and that this is a conversation, because this place should not have ever had started off as how it is, like Nim said. So hopefully you'll make the right decision.
Okay, thank you very much. And would any of the residents like to summarise, given that they did just have the sort of last word, as it were?
I think everything's been covered from my perspective.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so we will now, Mr. Shankar.
Thank you, Chair.
Who would like to summarise your
Thank you, Chair.
points?
There is a huge list of issues were raised by the residents since 2008 about an unregulated premises causing the nuisance, causing them a lot of issues with the council. And now here an operator comes in, employs a licensing consultant to understand the legislation properly, put in a lot of money behind it, and wanting to do the works to get it better for the residents and to have a nice business. And everybody goes up in arms. I mean, the disappointment from our end for trying to do the right thing and being taken the rug away and say, go away, we don't want to hear from you, is quite interesting, sir. I really have no words to answer what more we can do. I mean, the licensing hearing, whether it is a new application hearing, a variation hearing, or a review hearing, is all about looking forward, not looking back. Looking back is for the courts. The licensing hearing is tied what is proposed by the applicant through his application and by the conditions, whether if they are all adhered to, if they're all being imposed in the license, will the licensing objectives will be promoted in the future? It is a forward-looking process, sir. Everybody's been looking back. Yes, of course, there are a lot of problems. We ourselves have said that these premises have been causing a lot of issues in the past. And here we are coming to make it right, put it right, put a lot of money behind it, put better personnel behind it, put a better licensing consultant behind it to advise. And we have want a regulated premises, not an unregulated premises, causing problems, more problems again. So our view is, by granting this license with the additional conditions that we have proposed, the additional strict controls that we have proposed, we are even providing commitment that there won't be any regulated entertainment until all these works are commenced, finished, controlled, and approved by the council. And if that is not adequate to the council staff, to the officers, we are at a loss, to be honest with you. We are really at a loss. So we would urge you to look at it as a forward-looking process. If the premises is provided with these conditions to operate, whether will it uphold the licensing objectives? There is no crime and disorder. There is no evidence to any crime and disorder from our patrons at all. These are all just allegations of, I mean, there is already a premises that operate till 3 o'clock in the area. So nobody is, you know, we are very clear, our residents haven't caused any problems, our patrons haven't caused any problems, and will not cause any problems. So we urge you, the panel, to consider this application as a application which wants to regulate the premises, to mindful of the residents to operate. So we urge you to grant this license, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Chair, Chair,
yes.
may I just intervene again, legal advisor to the committee, just in regards to Mr. Shankar's suggestion that the purpose of the licensing subcommittee is about looking forward and not looking back. My view is slightly different to that. The Licensing Act allows for this committee to take into consideration the licensing, the 4 licensing objectives, and the committee are able to hear evidence in relation to what has happened in relation to this premises, as you have heard extensively from various parties in this hearing, and it is relevant for the purposes of you taking any decision on whether you find that this applicant will uphold the licensing objectives. So it's not technically just about looking forward, it's about what is happening at that premises, which is why these objections have been made today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Zeb, just for clarifying that. Certainly, you know, we have heard an awful lot this morning. There's been a lot of evidence, so thank you to everybody who has given it. I think the panel have a lot to consider. Actually, now we will sort of retire with the clerk and the legal advisor, and we will come back and give a decision. Just sort of looking at the time, it is now sort of 1:45. I note. I think perhaps an hour is okay. So if we were to reconvene at 1:45 or 1:45 for the decision-making part of this, then that should be okay. Councillor Gallant, I see that you've indicated. You're on mute, Councillor Gallant.
Well, thanks, Chair. Just a quick question: should Mr. Shankar have an opportunity to actually have the last word after that interjection by legal advisor?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I mean, I'm only going by the guidance and the laws. It is very clear from the guidance, statutory guidance issued by the government, Secretary of State, that it is a forward-looking process, not what happened. I mean, obviously, what happened is important, but from a licensing committee point of view, it is a forward-looking process. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Right, then we will retire then at this point. And as I say, if we reconvene at 1:45 p.m. for the decision making part. Now, obviously, everybody will be written to, so the decision will be informed in writing in 5 days. So if people do have other things to do, then of course they can go ahead and get on with those, and they will be informed of the decision, or indeed they'd be able to look on the stream and either watch on the stream or catch it up later on today at their convenience. Isabella, I did just see a quick indication.
Yes, I think you just answered the question. I was going to check that we can all log back in an hour's time, but I think you've just explained that we can.
Yeah, okay, great. Right, thank you very much then, everybody, and we'll reconvene in an hour's time.